Hello and welcome everybody to the altar. After numerous audio issues caused by my dumbass, we are finally good to go. So today, boys, and for those of you who don't know, joined with me right now, I have Max, aka Less Racist Max, aka Caparato. I have Matt, aka the Puerto Rican, aka the other Italian, aka Moonlit Matt, and you have myself, Ben, aka Based Heisenberg, aka the Heeb. Now, I believe we were going to talk about
We're talking
why.
about the student loan stuff.
Yeah,
And actually, the reactions are funny, the ridiculous comparisons, and the idea of accelerationism.
accelerationism is now officially, at least in my opinion, the only valid ideology.
You just got there? What kind of anarchist are you?
Yeah, right.
I've been there. I've been there, but I've been yeah, maybe not necessarily. Maybe some things are all right. Not outside of the government, but you can just nope, fuck it, floor
Well,
it.
really,
Here's the thing. This isn't an accelerationist ideology, but it's like if you are like a serious and meaningful person in your community and
Mm-hmm.
you are friends or know or have contributed to like in a very Machiavellian way to your city council or to your like county sheriff or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
like you do not want to accelerate the collapse of that particular institution, right? Like you want to be friends with that institution on the other side of like some federal or state collapse that might be happening.
So the idea is accelerationism towards balkanization. That's the idea.
Oh, absolutely. Like
yes.
every single iota of the libertarian freedom, liberty movement, anarchist movement should be pushing towards balkanization. And the fucking blue pilled responses that you get out of I just saw a video today from F Fee, you know what I'm talking about? Foundation for
The,
Economic
yeah,
Education.
Oh yeah.
I know those
And they
crackers.
wrote an article and Dave Smith responded to it, and they did not respond to Dave Smith's directly. They don't mention him in their response, but they're clearly talking about his response, which is
Yeah.
surprising because Fee only has like I gotta look at this because it's gonna be hilarious. Um, it's gonna be only a few thousand views on their response. Um,
Well, while you're searching that, I'm getting my hair cut and my beard trimmed tomorrow, FYI.
Word. Oh, so
oh,
you
nice.
won't get
All right.
randomly selected at the airport anymore.
I feel like my town's about to kick me out,
You got a
A
little
truly libertarian
Chechen
society.
vibe going.
Yeah, that's me.
Mm.
I'm
Like
actually
look at
Chechen,
I'm just
so.
looking at the like I've got this curly black-haired fellows to my left
Mm-hmm.
and then the blonde long straight
My
hair.
hair is dark brown. Fun fact.
Okay.
Just
I'm
looks
sure if you shine a light through it underneath that it would appear
and gray. And
almost
gray.
red.
No, so anyway, so let's get in so just pull that up.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
circle
So
back.
I wanted to
We'll circle back.
quote the stats. Is that okay? So
Okay, here we
Fee
go.
admittedly does have videos with like lots of views, like almost a million in some cases, or 1.2 million on some of them. And
Million fake
then,
anarchists.
but most of their videos are like 13,000, 14,000, 30,000, and then they'll have one that's 1.3, and then 95,000. So like
So almost as good as us. Okay.
almost. And but like Dave Smith, you go to Dave Smith and his response was like, and if you look at Dave Smith, his views, I don't know what he's doing on subscribers right now and stuff like that. Okay, he's got 81K subscribers. Okay, he consistently does between 30 and 50,000 views per video. Is what I'm looking at. Okay.
Decent.
Now, like if you're at parity like that, like yeah, there's viral clips of Dave. Dave's been on fucking Joe Rogan like a dozen times, right?
Yeah.
And there's
couple
million
at
K
least.
views of or million view videos clips of him. Okay, but like if you are also consistently getting like 30,000 views and you're addressing somebody who gets 30,000 views, just say who you're talking about, right? Like is
Yeah,
that so difficult
it's
of a thing to
basically
say?
subtweeting in YouTube fashion.
Right, right.
It's basically
And
what it is.
like and obviously like Dave would have those people on to talk about that kind of thing, right? Like why is national divorce like Tom Woods is pushing it, Michael Malice is pushing it. Like this is where the movement is heading is like we need
Mm-hmm.
to balkanize, we need to get rid of this American empire. And it's absolutely insane to me that like the fucking blue pilled libertarian, the beltway libertarians reason uh
Fucking reason.
Reason has been
is
compromised for a minute now. Like, I think I
yeah.
dropped them in like 15.
I I consistently read them still to know what a normie thinks a libertarian
Ugh.
might be. You
Ugh.
know? Like
I
browse
can't.
their
A
little thing.
libertarian is someone that wants to smoke weed and have abortions or something.
Mm.
I think that's the term. Someone I'm in chat some Discord, some like gaming Discord where they just recently added a argument channel. So basically anything politics or anything you want to argue about. But I'm like I don't argue in there. But one guy was going on about like he's like posting about libertarians. But they
Mm.
like oh yeah, they just want to like, smoke weed and, or whatever like the bullshit line. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I guess that's it. It's a little more involved than that, but they're still retarded. But
Mm.
you guys start talking about PPE. My kid just woke up. PPP. My kid just woke up, so I'll be right back.
Word. What is PPP?
I don't know. Sometimes people just drop acronyms and I just roll with it and I'm like,
Word.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess. If he's got to go BFE the XTF, then So I guess we
uh
were talking about the loan thing, the student loan
oh,
forgiveness, $10,000.
well, wait, let can we finish our thoughts about balkanization and accelerating balkanization?
Word. Okay. Yes, we can.
Yeah, cuz like and let me ask you this let me finish kind of this thought as a question for you and you can expand on it, which is like if and somebody mentions Jeff Deist also is pushing for balkanization and it's like what is the creation myth of America to either side right now and why would either of them want to preserve it?
If you want to picture the United States as a room, the federal government is basically a fully loaded M249 just chilling in the middle of the floor in the center of the room. You're in this room with 49 other people you don't know, or you kind of know vaguely. Wouldn't you want to be in control of the machine gun?
That that is exactly the motivation right now. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
for controlling it. I'm just saying like as far as like I think I could go out to the average like rancher here in Wyoming or Colorado or anywhere in the West, right?
Or here in Utah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, in Utah, right, exactly. And say like what has the federal government done for you ever? And they would say they recruited my son to die in a pointless war,
Mm.
you know? My other son died at an opioid overdose because it's just getting imported across the southern border. And my daughter, who went to college, turned into under federal student loans, turned into like some monster with purple hair
Mm.
and calls me racist at Thanksgiving
And has an OnlyFans.
and has an old yeah, exactly. So it's like where is my investment in this society? Why am I growing food for people who hate me?
Mm-hmm.
And like I will say like rural towns are welfare states. If like if you really go to um one of these rural towns, what are the jobs? Okay, you're a farmer that receives half of their income in federal subsidies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or you are a school teacher, or a police officer, or a post mail person,
Mm-hmm.
or a you're working in one of the very fringe like services economy of like being a mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
or
A gas
working at
station attendant.
the one diner or the gas station in that town of 1,000 or 2,000 people. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like these are utterly dependent on the federal government towns. Every single
Mm-hmm.
rural town in America is extremely dependent on the federal government, but they only see them as a middleman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, in a practical sense, if you wanted to design a system in which the people who you exploit see you as their benefactor and can't leave you behind, like all I see when I go out to these like little towns is the America flag, like Under Armour 511, like
Mm-hmm.
flag on the shoulder,
Punish your
financial.
skull, don't tread on me, oxymoron. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And but if you wanted to design an economic system that kept them in line for 100 years of exploitation, that this is the exact economic system I would design for them.
Like that is the obvious question. Like, if you were to design a system like that, how would it be any different than what we have today?
And so, like, yeah, when are we gonna wean off these people from seeing, like, they obviously, like, in their rhetoric day to day are gonna say, yes, the federal government just siphons off these tax dollars and then they hand it out, but they need to have that insular moment where they're saying, like, wait, I need to reject this system myself personally. And it's only when
Mm-hmm.
that happens is when we're going to have the moment where it's like, you know, Utah is going to say, wait, we're like a tourism destination, and we are an energy exporter, and we've got rare earth minerals and metals and everything like that.
And we
And
have our
so,
own gold standard. It's called the Utah buck. It's actually like gold in bills that you can exchange as currency. I'm pretty sure it's called the Utah buck. But basically, we
yeah.
have our own gold backed currency that, like, it's kind of a fringe movement here in the state, but, like, they have actual currency printed and it's gold. So we already have a gold
Nice.
backed system in place, which is based and red pilled.
Well, I'll say here
However,
in
you can't move
Wyoming.
here. Fuck off, we're full. Anybody who does not already live in the Rocky or Southwest region, fuck off, we're full. As you're
Exactly.
as you're saying.
Yeah, here in Wyoming, cryptocurrency is treated as a currency,
Mm-hmm.
just as a commodity. It is traded
Do
freely
you guys
without
have
any
Bitcoin? Like,
taxes.
do you
Sales.
guys have like Bitcoin ATMs out there yet?
Um, there are. I mean, if there's any, there's there's three towns. You can guess which three towns have
Yeah.
um, ATMs in them. Period. And
The
uh,
honestly, the only one I can think of is Cheyenne. So,
well, no, Jackson, right?
oh, Jackson. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jackson's pretty hip. Even though it's got a small permanent population, it's a very advanced town as far
Hmm.
as the economy goes, right? Because it's all
Mm-hmm.
tourist action.
Oh,
And then, I mean, the Federal Reserve's meeting there right now. The big people and everything like that.
oh, they're meeting a
And
couple hours away from me, and I have all these guns in a truck, huh? In Minecraft.
the temptation to go out as a
Mm,
G.
yeah.
But the Casper is the one of the oil capitals of America, right?
Casper, I'm
Uh,
familiar with. Yes.
it is Oil Town 101. Like, you think Houston is all about oil? Well, fuck you. Casper's all
Okay,
about
Houston
oil.
may be about oil, but Houston is not. Like, honestly, when I think of oil right now, I don't think of Texas. Like, I know Texas does produce a lot of oil, but I think of Wyoming specifically. Actually, I think of the Dakotas. Like, North Dakota specifically is
North
like the.
North Dakota is where the big shale play was.
Yeah.
And unlike Pennsylvania and New York, upstate New York, right, which
Hmm.
shat on the shale play because of, you know, environmental stuff.
Yeah.
North Dakota just rolled with it.
Hmm.
And so yeah, they were the number one benefiters of the shale revolution. And North Dakota, again, if we're talking about balkanization, North Dakota could become Saudi Arabia tomorrow, right?
Easily. Easily.
Like they would be equivalent in the energy market tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, for
you
a
know,
while, based on what they were producing, they made the country equivalent, if not greater than Saudi Arabia in terms of oil exporting. And of course, OPEC did not like that.
right, it was just where we get like to like here in Wyoming or I mean even in Colorado, like
Hmm.
the Democrats in Colorado, Jared Polis is pro fracking, is pro oil development, but they can't develop the land because 55% of the land is owned by the feds.
Hmm.
And Biden suspended all the leases for all of that. And we're looking at this and we're like, hey, we could be making money hand over fist right now. Russia's out of the game.
Hmm.
China, India and China are buying more than ever.
That's such a
And
good
Europe,
point. Like, Russia is like the pariah of every fucking Western country that consumes oil right now.
yeah, we
Uh,
could be. So okay, here's the thing that doesn't work for Germany. Germany's very natural gas based, and we don't have a
Germany
sufficient
is gas
infrastructure.
based, you say?
Very
Cyclone.
gas based.
Um,
Very base of the gas.
we don't have the infrastructure to export liquid natural gas or just natural gas to Europe, really. Right? Our natural gas market is North America. It's Canada and Europe.
Yeah, true.
Or
I mean,
Canada and Mexico.
we can send tankers across the ocean, but that's basically it.
Wrong pipe. Okay. Um so yeah, we could be in a situation where US okay, so Texas still I mean, obviously the area of Texas is vast, right? So as
So
an oil
what did
play.
we? So I left with PPP. What's the
What
give me the
is okay?
quick?
I actually asked this as soon as you left. Neither at Max nor I know. What is PPP?
Oh, I'm dumb. I meant to talk about say student loans, but the PP is like
Isn't that the private business like bailout
yeah
shit
the
for COVID?
business loans. Yes.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
okay.
Sorry.
No,
That's
we
what
were
I
talking
thought
about
you meant.
balkanization
That's
still.
Yeah.
I meant start talking about student relief, but I'm fucking retarded. So you know
Listen,
what
Matt, we're all a
happens.
little retarded. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, my mind was in the right
Not
set.
gonna lie. I'm a little retarded.
I'm a little
So
retarded.
did we talk about the student loan stuff yet?
No, we
Not
Yeah,
yet.
actually haven't
no.
got into that too much.
All right, let's go to quick. Go to the boys chat real quick because I want
Word.
to reference some conversation today because I thought this would make great material for tonight. So we're talking in the boys chat, the show prep,
Hmm.
and I brought up that because so if you don't already know, the Biden administration has is going to forgive $10,000 worth of federal student debt if you are a non-Pell Grant recipient, uh, and up to 20,000 if you were a Pell Grant recipient, and if you make under 125,000 and married 250,000. So let's put that out there. So I'm
Wow.
like, oh yeah, my wife's loan's getting wiped, and what I've accumulated since I started in February is getting wiped as well.
Mm.
So I'm like, all right, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, which is like
Quick question:
whatever.
does your wife have a higher educational credential than you currently?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
I just wondered because
I have no college degree, and she has one.
Mm.
okay,
I'm in the process. So we're talking about. So I was like, yeah, I got this
your
much
wife's very
money.
based, by the way.
Is she?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to commit to that statement?
I mean,
Well,
she
like,
gave you
She's a
3
teacher
sons.
at a public school. Do you want to take
Okay,
that?
but
You want to take that
Ooh.
back? Just
she-
kidding.
Is she like?
she-
She's one of the good
she's
public
willing
school
to-
teachers, though. Clearly,
Yeah, yeah. She's
She's
not
willing
she's not
to-
doing drag shows in her classroom. So we're
exactly.
good.
Like if she were a cop, she'd be the one good cop.
the
No,
math
no,
class
mm.
is how many abortions you
No.
can have per year or something like that.
No, I don't know about that. So I brought up like I was like, yeah, so I'm like, so it'll bring like my degree cost like this much, and Ben was like, oh yeah, like my stuff's gonna get wiped, and then fucking less racist Max was like, I had 0. Try having rich parents next time, you poors.
Yeah, can't. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, gotta give it to him there.
What can you do? Clearly, he's just
Yeah,
from
so
superior
we're
stock.
just talking about oil, and yeah, my parents were both in the oil business. so-
Oh yeah, you get that
Okay.
oil money. Get that Arab money.
Actually, my grandparents were in the oil business too. So
Were they in the
Royal
oil
blood.
business or were they in the oil business?
um,
They
Be-
were in something.
it was actually in California. So, but still, the oil business was founded by Oklahoma Texan people there. So they still say it's the oil business.
What you're
The
saying
oil
is your
business.
family is from California.
I should not admit this on air.
Matt, what
Yeah,
should
I
we do
wouldn't.
about this?
I mean, he's not living there now, so I guess.
True,
And
yeah.
he agrees with us, so he was one of the Californians that moved out of there to
Mhm.
actually do good. So
Okay.
I'll give
So
him. I'll give him.
so I'll say
All right, yeah.
like
Mhm.
I my there's oil in California, right? It's still the number 6 producing state in the union. And I was born there because my parents were working there at the time.
So you were
but-
born in California.
Yes. Like I was saying, I should
Unfortunate.
admit this on air.
Yeah,
It's
you
okay.
should.
Clearly, you've
I
cued
wish I knew that
yourself.
before I invited you to
I-
be another co-host.
Yeah,
I-
that's
It's problematic.
I
Here's
mean,
the thing.
we're already pretty out there with Yimmer being bisexual and shit. Now we got a Californian, like,
True.
I
True.
okay. Am I really a Californian if my parents moved and I grew up in Colorado from the age of 15 months?
what city did you live in Colorado?
A small
California,
one.
yeah.
Was it an affluent town or was it a poor town?
It was a working class town with a factory in it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You pass.
Very ANCAP, very pollution. It's
Mhm.
very good.
Pro
Very good.
pollution. This
Yeah,
podcast
so-
is pro pollution. Yes.
Yes, incredibly.
Okay. Excellent.
'Cause, if you don't
Yes,
like it, you can
the
leave.
entire town smelt like shit and hops. I'll tell you
Excellent.
that.
Our official position on pouring used oil down the drain is not our problem.
Like no shit. It was like I honestly thought he was California based on the clothes. Still in him. Still in him.
Got him.
So, all right. So let's go on the student loan stuff. So there are plenty of people upset that there's loans being forgiven because this is socialism, which it is, obviously.
Mhm.
But it's coming from people that don't mind socialism when it suits them.
Mhm.
Right. So, because the White House tonight on Twitter decided to quote tweet politicians who are critical of the student loan forgiveness plan with information of how much in PPP loans they each had forgiven. Now, boys, what is the problem with this comparison? The PPP loans, I'm sorry, let me bring this in. I just naturally assume that you guys know what all this means. So the PPP loans were business loans during the pandemic where
Yes.
you can get basically like you can get your payroll covered.
So I just
with
want to
the-
mention
with the
real quick,
loans.
we did know what that was, but you said you want to talk about PPP, and we were going into student loans, and Max and I were like, what?
Well, I thought it was a metaphor for like PP and poop for like
Well,
you're
I said
changing your
PPE
it's
first
like-
because I'm
I
special.
shit. I don't know.
So no, like I mean, for anyone listening that doesn't know what PPP is, like, because you're not in business, like you might not know or whatever.
I
So
do because actually we slightly received one, so
Mm.
by
yeah. Oh,
proxy.
we got it here.
Matt,
Like earlier.
should we basically form a little LLC and make our podcast a small business and get a PPP loan?
If well, no, because I think the PPP loans are done.
Oh,
That's the problem. We should have done
fuck!
it.
Damn it!
Should
Shit!
we should
Yeah, we
have
should have done
got
it
that
like a
going
year and a
beforehand.
half ago and like claimed that we're like a Turkish restaurant in fucking like Kremlin and um said we had 29 employees that all get paid $30,000 each.
So yeah, so that's what the PPP loans were. It was like for businesses, so they could. It was strictly like for payroll, like so like whatever, so people could still like work during the lockdowns and all that shit. So all these congressmen have businesses outside of their job, or are associated with businesses that where they could have got money or whatever. So the White House was tweeting that these congressmen or congresswomen
Mhm.
got PPP loans and they were forgiven, but yet they are talking shit about the student debt relief. Boys, what's the problem with the comparison?
Well,
You see,
they had their loans forgiven by the federal government. Yet they don't want to forgive those loans for private citizens.
the problem is that when you get a federal loan, in the contract you are told the terms in the repayment, like with the repayment, like this is the terms of the contract with the federal government for student loans, is you're getting this much at this percentage, and you in the repayment period of like 20 years or something like that. And the I think Obama did like the 10% cap on your income, your discretionary, for example. The difference is when PPP loans came out, they're like, we're going to give you money for payroll that you have to pay back. But if you actually, it'll give you money, but if you actually use it for payroll and can show us that, we'll forgive the loan. That was the contract. So I ask again, what is the difference between the PPP loans and the student federal loans?
The private businesses spent the money out of their own pocket first.
The contract said we're going to forgive it basically regardless
Mm-hmm.
before you even signed.
Oh, student
Federal
loans
loans
did not say that at
yeah,
all.
yeah, student loans do not say that. Student loans do not say that we will forgive it as long as you go to school. If you drop out, like it wasn't like I would give it to them if they said like, oh, we will give you a loan for school, that as long as you complete school, we'll forgive the loan. But if you don't complete school, we're gonna make you pay for it. It's essentially like that would be a good comparison to the PPP, because it was like you have to use this money to keep people like working. They wanted to keep the economy going. That was the whole purpose of the PPP loans. The
Mm-hmm.
triple P. I'm gonna call it triple P for now on. There's different. So
Big
this
P.
this whole like this whole fucking Twitter thing where like all these like left leaning people are like, yeah, fucking drag them, like these fucking like people. I'm like, they're not the same, because contract wise, one person knew it was going to be forgiven, and one party knew it was going to be forgiven. Another party had no idea up
Here's
until
a question:
just
Are
yesterday.
PPP loans dischargeable through bankruptcy?
Um, I have no
They
I
idea.
wouldn't
don't
need
know.
to be because they're automatically forgiven.
True. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, they're just free money, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was literally free money. So they're attacking on this, but what the White House should be doing is doing the whole, you claim you don't like socialism, yet you took like the guaranteed free money loans. You took that from the government with no issue, but you claimed like other like, oh, like I'm sure you can fucking Twitter search their feeds for like stimulus checks and how they supported it because Trump was president, right? I'm sure you can find people talking about these stack like the check. Actually, I think Mitch McConnell, I looked the other day, and he was
Well,
talking about.
this is
So
the autism in the libertarian movement is that we think we can have like a debate club about how oh, you contradicted yourself on this particular point at some point, and now you're uh some hypocrite. Well, the truth is that all of these different factions just worship power. That's the only thing that's
Yeah.
ever mattered, and it's about gathering money and gathering power. That's all they ever wanted, all they'll ever do. And once you accept that in your life, you will be much happier knowing that, yes, this faction will criticize you because you are gaining power, and that faction will criticize the other faction because
Yeah, well,
you are gaining
that's the
power.
problem. The normies and shit. It's like, oh, it's all messed up. It's like they're gonna say like, oh yeah, the Republicans are hypocrites and shit for whatever. But it's like you think your side is without sin, like pot meet kettle, like, or if we're gonna hit up the boy, Jesus real quick or God, whoever quoted it, is like he who's without sin casts the first rock
that was
of
Jesus.
crack and then smoke it.
Known.
It was Jesus. I don't
Mm.
remember. Own baby. That's what's funny. I'm like,
Oh,
call
rock.
them fucking
Yeah, no, crack
socialists.
rocks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, crack
Mm.
rocks. Like Tyrone Bigums.
Mm.
That's totally it. That's
Let
it.
he who is
But
without
then,
sin
the
smoke
other
the
side,
first rock.
talk about, well, actually, I don't think any politicians actually like outright said they don't like capitalism, but they like infer it because like some supporters, it's like
Even
the
Bernie
minority
Sanders will
majority.
say, like, we support capitalism, or like, I support capitalism. I just want the profits to benefit the workers, or something
Mm.
like that.
Well, it's very easy to say when you own 3 houses.
4, isn't it 4?
Oh, it might be 4 now. I don't know. Last I heard it was 3.
Oh,
Matt, what
JC
is
brings a good
excuse me,
point.
Max, what does
What's
your
up?
cat have to say about student loan forgiveness?
Put it up. It's betting that pussy real good though.
Mm-hmm.
JC brings up a good point. Is it hypocritical to take PPP if the government forced your business to shut down?
No.
No,
Here's
No.
the thing, too.
actually not.
Didn't Ron Paul make this point already? Like, if the government is giving you money, it's your money anyway. You might as well take it back.
Yeah, no, there's
Yeah.
zero chance that the money that you put into the federal government as a productive member of society will ever amount to the amount that you get back. So just take all you can whenever you can. It's fine.
I mean, there's a lot of things like people like in this will probably transition into the accelerationism part, but yeah, like all money you get back, like free money is your money, but in this ridiculous cycle of like the snake that consumes itself is is that you're going to get taxed eventually on that money you just got back, which is completely fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But to go to the
I'm
acceleration,
very happy. I got some cola adjustments recently, cost of living, and like the fact is, it's like, oh, awesome, I make that much now, and then I look at it and it's like, I pay almost $1,000 a month in federal taxes now.
I'll try not to think about that.
Yo, real quick though, hey, this is shitty monitor. Like, I wish I could sleep like that right now. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Knocked out.
That dude is out.
He's got the belly out, ready to go.
Oh, he's ready to go, dude. He is
He's
your
ready to go
son
to
for
sleep,
sure.
Stay asleep. Yeah, hell yeah. So, but yeah, so for the accelerationism aspect of this, was Ben was saying he just got on board. He was like
No,
pretty much
okay,
on
so
board.
here's the
He's
thing.
officially
Like, I guess, like, 95% I was on board with accelerationism. I just had that 5%, I guess. It's gone now. I'm cool.
Well,
Let's do it.
But like, you were just recently there. What was the opposition to accelerationism, and what was the come to the light moment?
See, I always saw accelerationism as also kind of like, oh geez, accelerationism, excuse me. I always saw that as like it's also like, yeah, all these things are going to happen. Among that is also some sort of like civil war during the balkanization period, and I would rather not have that because that's not fun. Like everyone's
No,
like, yeah,
I
it's just
think
necessary sometimes. It's like, yeah, do you really know what you're asking for, my friend? Do you really?
right. There's so much LARPing online about what a civil war really mean, and they don't know about what a civil war really means. Because yeah, civil war means like you are going to the grocery store and a car bomb goes off,
Yeah,
and or you are you're just trying to like have a normal day going to work and you're making a delivery and
yeah,
fucking a firefight breaks out, right? Like
yeah.
that is not a good situation to be in.
Like you need to find an alternate route to work because, for example, in Utah, I-15, you can't take I-15 right now because there are state and federal troops using it as a DMZ, and if you cross it, they will hit you with fire from both sides. You don't want that. That's not fun. It's not.
Yeah, any dude, anyone saying like, yeah, like, I'm ready for civil war and shit, is psychotic, and you should distance yourself, like a lot.
No, I think
Or
they're just naive. They're very young people who these are the kind of guys that would have
dude,
signed up for like
I'm talking,
Afghanistan and Iraq
I'm
and shit.
Oh, free college?
psychotic.
Word?
Well, what I'm saying is that people are like, yeah, man, I'm ready for fucking civil war. I'll mow down any motherfucker. Like that person is psychotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And
sure,
like,
sure.
like indiscriminately, like I'll mow down, like, because there are people out there saying that kind of shit. Like, you're fucking psychotic. And like, the moment a civil war breaks out, I will personally come over to your house and fucking kill you because you said you
Exactly.
violate the NAP,
Mm-hmm.
and I will come as a
Right.
friend and leave as an enemy
No,
because you're
it's
dead.
like, guys, I don't like this. The whole point of national divorce is not needing to kill your enemies. It's just
That's the
needing to let.
idea. But
Yeah,
here's the thing inherently, any situation where you have a national divorce, you are going to have states that do not agree. So, like, you can say, like, all right, we're going to have, like, a vote in Congress. Like, this would never happen. But you could have a vote in Congress where, like, all right, we're going to dissolve. Like, what happened with the Soviet Union in the 90s when they basically dissolved their own government? Like, you're not going to have
You
that.
mean the 80s? I'm
The
gaslighting
80s?
you.
89,
I'm
whatever.
gaslighting you right now.
You mean you're gaslighting me right now?
Gaslighting. Yeah.
Gaslighting. So,
Like, would it be funny to throw out another decade and see what anyone says? No,
dude, time's not real. It doesn't, I don't know.
True.
So, like, okay, so the Soviet Union basically voted to dissolve itself or whatever. But, like, that's not going to happen with the U.S. federal government as easily. It's just not. Like, the zeitgeist that is in place with the U.S. federal government right now doesn't allow for that. Like, with the Soviet Union, you had a much shorter time frame where the Soviet Union existed. So, like, there were still people alive who remembered a time before the Soviet Union and all those satellite states that were occupied by the Soviet Union. With the US, we're talking like hundreds of years of like these states are part of this. So you're going to have resistance, and there are going to be states that are not going to be okay with this.
I think this is maybe some of your like growing up on the East Coast perspective
Probably. Probably.
coming in.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm totally okay, like, were this to happen and some states were to reject, I'm to the point where I'm just like too fucking bad. Like, if this happens by vote, and I'm not saying it's going to happen by vote, but if it did, and people voted for that, like a Brexit situation, you don't get to complain. You just don't.
Well, right. No, here's the thing: is if it comes up to a vote, and it will happen, um, from the states themselves. Like we've already got Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and other rising Congress people.
Is
And
Tulsi Gabbard online with that yet?
Tulsi's getting really red pilled really quick.
Mm.
I don't know if you've noticed.
If I see her flip Republican and go based on like guns and shit, I'll lose my mind.
That's kind of mine too. Like, until she's like, yeah, everybody should own at least 3 AR-15s. Like, I'm not treating her seriously.
Well, no. Did you see her speech where she was like, "Yeah, the Second Amendment is essential to preserving freedom," and like, like she reversed her position on assault weapon bans, and I think she still supports background checks, but like that's not what I super care about. It's
Fair.
um like uh, uh, like even Cody Wilson, like you get to crypto anarchists like Cody Wilson, and he'll say like, oh yeah, like even in like a common law society, we would probably have restrictions on who could own firearms, but like,
I mean,
you
that would
know,
make sense. I mean, the same system we have right now with NICS, like, assume we live in a private ANCAP society, like, there would still be a set of, like, you don't have to live here, but if you're going to live here, there are certain guidelines you have to follow.
yeah,
It
and
makes
yeah,
sense that there would be a database of people who have, like, on record violated these guidelines, and it would be your choice, not your obligation, your choice as a private business owner who sells firearms, whether or not you want to sell to this person, knowing that they do violate the guidelines set up by your community. Now,
yeah.
would be different from what we have right now, where if you have a felony and you apply for a background check, that's another felony, and no, you don't get the gun. That's different. Different.
Right. Yeah, that's yeah, that would be significantly different. I think, yeah, in a covenant community, you could say like this person who like, well, it come down to an insurance question at the end of the day.
Mm.
At the right, like where, and this is where like the libs kind of have like a like a glimmering of the future, which is like they say, oh, all gun owners should carry insurance, which is like right now they're kind of not allowed to
Mm-hmm.
account for that in like homeowners insurance and stuff. Um, like
See, here's the
on
thing.
net.
So, speaking from a New York perspective, they would
Don't want to
make that
hear it.
argument, and
The
they, knowing
New
that,
York.
no, listen, knowing that insurance companies would not, be cool with that and would not give you insurance, they would be like, oh, tough shit. Like, it's
No,
like
no,
you create a.
you can buy concealed carry self defense insurance right now, right?
True. The
Ninety
USCCA
nine bucks a
does.
year.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so cheap because it's so safe.
USCCA, please sponsor us.
Yeah, right. It's so, but that's the thing. It's cheap because it's safe. Like the
Mhm.
vast majority of people will never have an incident that has any negative consequences, and when they do, they'll just recoup the damages easily. Like $100 a year for people who carry a firearm on a daily basis. Like you
Yeah.
think like that's what the insurance companies that's what an insurance cost is for legal fees for people who carry a firearm as a private citizen. What do police cost per year? I pay $1,000 in taxes every fucking month. Okay,
Mm,
what do the police cost?
You know,
So
I kind of think I'll get Cybersmith back on the show so we can talk
word.
more on Capistan. Because he was when he was on, like I was totally like, well, first of all, like I was working like 15-hour days. I was totally sideswiped because I had never heard anyone bring up like double jeopardy in an ANCAP society. I was like, I don't know, like fucking contracts, whatever, protected, whatever. Hey, you go listen to that show with Cybersmith. You want to get more detail with that. But I figure for like gun insurance, right? Like you wouldn't have to get gun insurance because like the local rights enforcement agency would be like, oh yeah, like they would do like a competencies test for you, right?
Hmm.
Like if you wanted to carry a gun, like, well, if you're good with a gun, like I'm just spitballing here, obviously, but if you're good with a gun, like your premium will stay the same. But if you're like if you're a woman, we're gonna it's like $10 more a month. You know what I mean? $10 more a month for your fucking rights enforcement agency, or you just don't subscribe to a rights enforcement agency. And I mean, woman couldn't afford a rights enforcement agency anyway because they make
See,
77%.
Matt, I know you said once upon a time this would never happen, but like this would actually be a great topic to have the Cybersmith and Marcel on the show to talk about,
right.
especially in regards to rights enforcement agencies.
I
Like,
don't know if Marcel would do a show with the Cybersmith.
we
To
should
be
approach.
honest.
We could ask. What's the harm in asking? If he says
Well,
no,
here's the thing. So Marcel, front of the show, Anarchy in
of
Black,
course, of course.
he has his own Discord, and it's and I got the idea for like the podcast Discord, which if anyone wants to join it, hit me up, hit Ben up, Max, whatever. We'll get you a link. But he like I got that idea for the wall, right? From him is where
Mhm.
you get in there. There's only one channel, and you have to say like who you are, what your political position is, or something. I can't remember. It's been a couple years since I joined. Like who you are, political position, or whatever bullshit. And then once I got in, Marcel posted. I think this was like 3 years ago. He's like, "Yeah, Cybersmith's still behind the wall because he's like, I will not allow him in."
Wow.
Like,
I mean, he won't allow him in his private Discord. That's one thing, but like, he might come on the show because I mean, if we're controlling content, like, he might be okay with that. We should ask.
yo,
We should ask. We should ask.
I think it's
I,
worth an ask.
I will ask him because right now I look like the whitest person with this light on me, and I think I can get away with it. Asking
You could.
Marcel if
You could.
we can get
You
away
could.
with it. But Bridget in the chat, she's like, I need to put a voice in the Cybersmith's face. What episode was that we did with him?
You could just go to our page and word search
Yeah, just go-
Cybersmith and find
Yeah,
it.
yeah, just literally, yes. Dining in with the Cybersmith, I think was the episode title.
So I think we agreed that like
Oh, okay, so
there
somebody,
were some like
Noche is saying I would still want to carry even if there was private police. I'm not saying you couldn't
can't.
carry.
word.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not saying that like you couldn't buy different firearms. I'm saying like your homeowner's insurance or your health insurance would have data on you saying like you are this suicidal or you are this like homicidal. You're on SSRIs, which is the obvious thing nobody fucking
Oh,
talks about when it comes to like mass shootings and shit. And like they would come in and they're like you're the fact that health insurance companies aren't responsible, like everybody blames like a gun manufacturer and the gun dealer and the NRA,
we're
and they don't look
getting
at these health
getting some
companies
good
or the
stuff in the
fucking
chat tonight.
hospitals
Word.
We're getting
that
some good.
say
We're getting a little potential discourse. From Salo is saying that like bro, private police would just be mercenaries. Well, yeah,
Mm,
but they have a
yes,
profit motive to
yeah,
protect customers, right?
you
right.
can choose
Protect
to stop
protect
paying
customers.
private police.
They're not like cops, and well, they're not like mercenaries because it's like one person hires a mercenary or an organization. Well, I guess it can if it rights enforcement agency or a DRO or whatever hire like police force, it'd be like similar, but the motives are different. Because usually when mercenaries are like you got like one objective to like kill this and then you're done and then the contract's over. But the contract with people that are hired in the business extends for as long as you're working there, like police, like as long as you're working there, you get paid, blah blah
Mhm.
It's like
blah.
you
But
might have a lawyer on retainer, right? Like you don't plan on committing crimes or whatever, but you have like every single fucking engineer or geologist or um, architect has a lawyer on retainer as part of their contract that they sign when they do business. And they say like, "Oh, okay, if you are going to dispute my work, then we're going to have to arbitrate it, and it's usually in a private court, to be honest. Like, and this is very simple stuff as far as the market
oh,
is
that
concerned.
was the I like it. Like we just really shifted everything, but I'm for it. I'm really for it right now because I so what I want to talk about is something I forgot because I was like I looked at my kid. I'm like, you look beautiful, baby, beautiful kid. Because like I'm reading all this shit in the chat, shit like all this anarchy stuff. Like we really need to start talking more anarchy stuff. I believe.
No, we do heavily lean into current events, but we don't like extrapolate out into Ancapistan that often. And here I
True.
am, Max Ancaparado,
Mhm.
and like, yeah.
So real quick, I just want to interject real quick. Episode 44 is the episode where we had the Cybersmith. It is titled "Dining In with the Cybersmith." So
I was right
episode
about
44.
that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Me. But what I would like to do now, because I love this topic so much recently, is the topic of abortion. How I changed my stance on it a couple weeks ago. I think everyone.
Weeks?
Did you guys? A couple
Wait,
weeks ago, I changed. I
this
changed my
this
stance
is
on abortion.
news to me. So yeah, bring it up.
Oh, you didn't see the post
Yeah,
that I
I'm
made?
sorry, might have missed it.
Okay. Ben might have seen it.
Refresh
Maybe,
my drunk
perhaps.
memory.
I'll give you the broad brush. So, no, because I remember I get in arguments all the time. Like, I'm not when I produce an abortion argument, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. Okay, just put that out there. I'm just saying what my belief is from my perspective as a property rights anarchist, right? ANCAP. And I've finally realized that I've been wrong from the property rights perspective. It's very important because like, when I talk to people, like they'll be like, "Hey, man, like you can't fucking abort a kid because it's their body inside the woman's body, right? So it's two different entities with two different like rights, right? So you can't just fucking kill like you can't kill the baby, like you can't order a doctor to kill the baby." And then finally, I realized, like, yes, you are correct, but you can't evict it. You can't evict the baby.
Right. That's what Walter Block always talked about was
Yeah,
evictionism.
and I
Like
don't.
there's some sense of eminent domain when it comes to this, right? Whereas like there's an easement for like the easement for the utility company to access your property, like the cable of electricity or the wire of electricity carrying from the power company to your house is an easement and it remains their property and it might run through your house, right? So yeah, I'm getting where you're
Yeah,
going.
when Clayton in the chat, like Matt learns evictionism. I just want everyone to know I've known about evictionism for years and I've agreed with it. But I specifically have always said I was pro-abortion for a reason. And Clayton, we're gonna get there once I do whatever my post was because it was terrible. So the post in question was on like specifically to like ANCAPs because ANCAPs were all about property rights anarchists, right? And I was like, I admit that was wrong to the property rights anarchists. Like abortion is violating the NAP, whatever. So like you cannot kill a child. I'm like, but to be so now to be consistent with my property rights, like to be consistent with property rights, I'm like, you can't evict the child and put it on a table and let God decide what happens at any point. It was very. I think I worded it even like more atrocious. Basically, like, yeah, you just evict the child and then just figure out what God wants to do with it once it's on the table next to like the mother who was just taken out of. So my question is, to the property rights anarchists, what is more preferable? Euthanizing the fetus in the woman committing an abortion, or evicting the kid and letting it like fucking suffocate on a table next to the mother? Because if you're a property rights anarchist, you should be choosing the table. Unless I'm wrong. Unless anyone fight me on it. Go ahead, please give it to me. Give it to me.
Here's something about presupposition of rights or obligations or easements as would come into the case of eviction. Um, so you could say that the child has homesteaded the uterus.
Homestead. All right,
And
but the property owner's still there, so you can't homestead it yourself, right?
So
Like
they're
with
squatting.
if I remember with homesteading, is that this property that hasn't been touched in a while? Hey, maybe a leftist got pregnant, you know?
Dude, leftists get pregnant every month. That's why they fucking have abortions all the time.
Salo, I'm sorry. I'm fucked up. He's like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Look, that's what I'm saying.
Really?
So,
I think that's the first person to ask, like, what the fuck in our whole podcast. Like, most people
yeah,
just know.
yeah. Well,
Like,
no,
Lalo,
because
listen, we're glad to
because
have
I
you
phrased
here.
it so fucked up.
Salo, listen,
No,
we're glad to
here's,
have
like-
you here. This show is just like this. If you think that's bad, keep watching. That's all I have to
Yeah.
say.
So Noche
is
brought up that abortion is basically castle doctrine. Is what you're saying, Matt? Like, no, it's not, because you're not killing the child. The environment is.
okay.
So it's not the same.
Here's
Wait, oh no, wait, no, I'm sorry. He's
I'm
correct. I
really
misread.
reluctant to
Really
accept
quick.
any argument for abortion that also would justify you starving your newborn to death.
Yo, ding, ding, ding from the chat from our boy Watchman. I'm not gonna say his real name or anything. He's like, I think we could assume some individual or organization would accept guardianship of the baby, so I think there would be an obligation to get the baby to them, and he is fucking 100% correct.
Maybe
If someone
just sending a
if
text with directions to the baby.
yeah, no, so that's the thing. So with eviction is if you want to be like truly the property rights route, like no abortion, no, because abortion is fucking like euthanizing the baby and then removing the parts, like corpse removal at that point. So in the event of evictionism, there's a chance to save the child, which is like it was Walter Block would say is like, you know, like a middle ground for like on the abortion topic.
What if in the case of abortion, what if the father is a leftist man-child?
Is a what?
Is a
broke
leftist
up there.
man-child.
If he's a man child?
A leftist man-child. Then is it justified?
Testosterone's too low to procreate in the first place.
I
so-
mean, so you would have to like get like deep down to that. Like, is he married to the woman? Where there's a contract determining? Because I'm talking like Ancapistan shit, right? Like with
Okay.
contracts, or actually even libertarian aspect, because the counter arguments to like evicting a child is like, oh, so like if your child was already born, you could just starve it then, because it's like the same thing. Like, well, no, because in the libertarian aspect, there would still be a law that as soon as that child is born, you have to protect that child until they're of age to take care of themselves. Right? So that's the libertarian side. So that's already cut. So that's not, you can't do that. But in anarchist society, that's what people should want to know about. Like, what are you going to do about abortion? And in that case, it would be like a hospital or the rights enforcement agency would be like, hey, we are going to like, if you're going to deliver this baby, you're going to have to sign a contract of that you will care for this child until they can take care of themselves. Or if you want an abortion, well, we are going to remove the baby, and if the baby's viable, we will find someone else that like will take care of it for you. So like the table analogy I used earlier was just being incendiary, right? So
Okay.
just fucking piss people off. Well, that's what the post it was on Tumblr, so of course I'm trying to get reactions.
You're trying to get banned again, is what you're trying to do.
Yeah, trying to get third time's the charm, baby.
Baby.
JC says it's a false hypothetical because the child and the mother's womb are both property of the husband.
JC, I love you. I love you so much. And JC would be correct, because I am technically Catholic because I'm married to my wife. So yeah,
But, okay,
hilarious.
here's the deal. In an anarchist society, you like the incentives are all flipped right now in our statist society, that children are an expense and they don't pay for themselves and everything like that. But in anarchist society, like, it's our future child army, it's our militia for defending our property, okay? And we need them to be out on the street corner with AK-47s, making sure that the kids in the gold mines. I just caught a fly in my hand.
Nice.
I'm gonna show you this.
Based.
Oh wait, it flew up.
You didn't cut shit.
I believe you. So somebody just
Anyways,
I just reblogged this. It's a map of the United States. I'm gonna say post-balkanization. So you have New England, which includes everything, including
Wait, I've
Pennsylvania.
worked really hard on balkanization maps of the U.S.
All right.
Okay, so hold on. So
Really
it's
quick,
New England.
did I get an answer to that you can't evict a child, or we just agree that you can?
You can, of course.
You can. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
you
give me
can. I
pushback
would
because
say you should make every reasonable effort to accommodate the child's future home. Um, because it's like if you had like think about the reverse situation as for an elderly person, right? Like your parent like went into a coma late in life and they had a contract that said, hey, I please always resuscitate me and keep me on life support until the end, until whatever. Like just keep me on life support as long as possible. That and you signed this obligation as part of the will or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like the reverse obligation would be that like, oh, if you wanted to evict yourself of that obligation, you'd have to find somebody to fill that contract in your stead. Like you couldn't give that up just because the person wasn't conscious at the time when you decided to abandon the contract, right?
Yeah. What was interesting about the elderly aspect of it is because what's weird is like, well, not weird, but like all contracts have to have an exit clause, right? Where you get out of it.
Right.
But like, what in that case, which is it's good, is that what if you want to pass off your grandma the responsibility of taking care of her to somebody else if they want to live on for somebody? I'm sure there's someone out there that will do it because there's so many people about preserving life, not in your house, but elsewhere. Unless they're looking around. But I'm sure there's
No,
someone
I'm
that
looking for that fly I let go. I should have fucking smashed it against the table or some shit.
You
by your
should.
penis. Go punch it real quick.
The mushroom
By your
stamp would
penis.
fly. Do it.
The cat's staring menacingly. So yeah, so I mean, like, what I'm saying is that there's going like there should be like there'd probably be someone like I'm just speculating, right? That there's going to be someone that'll take over the contract regardless of if it's a fetus that is underdeveloped or an old person that's could die whenever, right? Like there might be. It's all hypotheticals. That's what we're talking about here because no one knows how Ancapistan's going to be. We're just spitballing here. Anyone that says definitively, well,
I don't think we're gonna solve the abortion issue right now.
Oh no, we're not.
Probably not.
I was fucking with Clayton. But the thing is like the whole thing about anarchy is like we're not getting definitive. It's just like how we think it's gonna be, and you know, if it's not, whatever. But at least we tried it because every like anarchist state, for example, has had like very loose rules that I can think of. Like any anarchist states that had it. Well, let's finish on the fucking Soviet Union, right? So they collapsed. They were communism, whatever, and they collapsed. They had to become Russia.
Mashallah.
Right. So that's how we started. What was it?
I said mashallah.
Mashallah. Oh, people and this is where I still think it would have failed anyway, but that's my own personal opinion. But the funny thing to me is that people are like, oh yeah, it failed because of communism. I'm like, well, what about the other factors like the gold blockade that the communists love to use, right? Like the gold block, like they couldn't use money for anything, so they had to sell their grain. They had to sell their resource, like their food resources, in order to survive. But again, government's stupid, and they sold a bunch of grain while their people were starving. So it was like kind of whatever. But I'm like, if it wasn't for the golden blockade, would they have lasted a couple years? Would they be here today? As well as like just things to think about. I don't think they would have been here
Probably
today.
not.
I think they would have been stupid as shit and fucked up because central planning's dumb, especially when the
You
communist
got to
state.
realize like the structure of like a party system And like this was the thing that was blatantly obvious to everybody as the fall of the Soviet Union was happening, was like everybody's like fucking 80 or 90 years old. Like there's nobody who's competent enough, even if they like were like a true believer, and like everybody was a true believer. Nobody's like got the reaction time to deal with the problems that a 300,000 million people nation has.
Which clearly is
Yeah.
vastly different from what the federal government of the U.S. is today.
The Constitution is a socialist document.
And every
It's
politician
it's
in a major position of power is
the
like
Constitution
90 or
is
80.
a crony capitalist document. FYI. I'll send you the video. Marcel would have it that one of the Mises fellows had done a breakdown on the Constitution, and that it was actually a crony capitalist document. Like, for example, the DC is located where it is because they bribed George Washington because his land was around there, so he wanted to increase property value. For example.
Crony capitalism is just a form of communism, though.
True.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, like this authorization for monopolization of security forces and for trade organizations and immigration and shit like that. Anything, even the stuff that is authorized under the Constitution. Not to mention all the shit that the federal government does today. Like every single plank of the Communist Manifesto has been achieved under the U.S. Constitution, whether you like it or not. And so it is an intrinsically communist document.
Yep. It really is. So, I think that's all I got for tonight. So I think we're get ready to go to sleep.
I think so.
So
All
before
right.
we go, just Ben, tell us your order of food and then end it.
I don't have one at the moment. That may change. I actually have food I can make in my apartment.
All right, good for you. All right,
Word.
cool. All right, well, Ben, take us out. Say the byes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. I had a little bit too much tequila, but it's good. Max, man, thank you for joining us. Face the mic. I'll face the mic. Don't tell me what to do. This is an ANCAP podcast. If I want to face away from the mic, I'll do that. I'll hit the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. And as always, taxation is theft.